لا تحرك به لسانك لتعجل به، إن علينا جمعه وقرآنه، فإذا قرأناه فاتبع قرآنه، ثم إن علينا بيانه. كلا بل تحبون العاجلة وتذرون الآخرة، وجوه يومئذ ناظرة إلى ربها ناظرة، ووجوه يومئذ باسرة تظن أن يفعل بها فاقرة. كلا إذا بلغت التراقي وقيل من راق وظن أنه الفراق، والتفت الساق بالساق إلى ربك يومئذ المساق. فلا صدق ولا صلى ولكن كذب وتولى، ثم ذهب إلى أهله يتمطى. أولى لك فأولى ثم أولى لك فأولى. أيحسب الإنسان أن يترك سدى، ألم يك نطفة من مني يمنى، ثم كان علقة فخلق فسوى، فجعل منه الزوجين الذكر والأنثى، أليس ذلك بقادر على أن يحيي الموتى. صدق الله العلي العظيم. الفاتحة إلى أرواح المؤمنين والمؤمنات والمات على الإيمان، وإلى روح من اجتمعنا لأجله الحاج سالم الكرعاوي، تسبقها الصلاة على محمد وآل محمد.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. رحم الله من أعاد الفاتحة على روح المرحوم المغفور له الحاج سالم الكرعاوي، مع الصلاة على محمد وآل محمد. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والفجر وليال عشر والشفع والوتر والليل إذا يسر، هل في ذلك قسم لذي حجر. ألم تر كيف فعل ربك بعاد، إرم ذات العماد التي لم يخلق مثلها في البلاد، وثمود الذين جابوا الصخر بالواد، وفرعون ذي الأوتاد الذين طغوا في البلاد، فأكثروا فيها الفساد
الفساد فصب عليهم ربك سوط عذاب إن ربك لبالمرصاد إن ربك لبالمرصاد فأما الإنسان إذا ما ابتلاه ربه فأكرمه أما الإنسان إذا ما ابتلاه ربه فأكرمه ورحمه فيقول ربي أكرمن وأما إذا ما ابتلاه فقدر عليه رزقه فيقول ربي أهانن كلا بل لا تكرمون اليتيم كلا بل لا تكرمون اليتيم ولا تحاضون على طعام المسكين وتأكلون التراث أكلا لما تأكلون التراث أكلا لما وتحبون المال حبا جما كلا إذا دكت الأرض دكا دكا وجاء ربك والملك صفا صفا وجيء يومئذ بجهنم يومئذ يتذكر الإنسان يومئذ يتذكر الإنسان وأنى له الذكرى يقول يا ليتني قدمت لحياتي يقول يا ليتني قدمت لحياتي فيومئذ لا يعذب عذابه أحد ولا يوثق وثاقه أحد يا أيتها النفس المطمئنة ارجعي إلى ربك راضية مرضية ارجعي إلى ربك راضية مرضية فادخلي في عبادي فادخلي في عبادي صدق الله العلي العظيم. الفاتحة مع الصلوات.
أحسنت حج، بارك الله فيك. مرة ثانية إلى أرواح أمواتكم جميعا، وإلى روح الوالد، وإلى روح السيد الخالد الحجار، نعيد قراءة الفاتحة تسبقها صلوات. اللهم صل على شكرا لكم جميعا على حضوركم، وأيضا أشكر سماحة السيد عباس رضويان على تقبله الدعوة، وأشكر أيضا سعادة القنصل الأخ سلوان رضوان على حضوره. برنامج الليلة طبعا إن شاء الله محاضرة للسيد عباس رضويان ثم نختم. Thank you, Sayyid Abbas, for coming in, and I would like to invite you to the podium. فصلوا على محمد وآل محمد.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا ومولانا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد على محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين، ولعنة الله على أعدائهم إلى قيام يوم الدين. Dear brothers and sisters, please recite one Surah Al-Fatiha and Qul Huwa Allahu Ahad for the soul of the departed Marhum Saalim Qarawi after Salawat ala Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. Muhammad. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. One of the blessings that Allah has given us, God could have designed a world where we all die together, and that there wouldn't be a differentiation, or for example, someone passing away one year, then another passing away from another year. Allah has allowed us to die in different time frames. What kind of blessing is this? Is that when you have a good child, when you have, for example, good son, good daughters, good sons, they will perform for you. They will ask forgiveness. If you need to do Hajj, for example, if you need to do Salat, if you need to do fasting, if you have a good child, that Awlad Salihah, they provide for you and make up for you what needs to be done. If we all died together, then we wouldn't ask forgiveness for one another. So remember, it's very important when someone passes away, especially you, that maybe you have your fathers or mothers, those that are here, Allah protect them for you, inshallah. Those that have passed away, may Allah, inshallah, forgive them. But you will be the only one, usually, that will remember them. Usually the grandchildren will not remember them. Others will not remember them. So while there is a chance, thank you so much. While there is a chance, remember your deceased. Remember them because there's no opportunity for the other generations to remember them. There are traditions, hadith, that every day they call and they're waiting for something for you to do for them. Maybe reciting Quran for them, maybe doing it'am and giving others food, or for example, seeking forgiveness for them. So therefore, this is an exemplary role model that we have from Hajj Mohsen, that he is remembering his father, and hopefully we can also learn to remember our deceased. And to every day, if you have one person, father, mother, who has passed away, every day recite for them Surah Al-Fatiha, recite for them 3 Qul Huwallahu Ahad, Surah Al-Tawheed. That's equal to recitation of the Quran. For my humble mind came something, I said that why don't I do this, for example, for my own mother. I said, why don't I do this for the mother of Imam Zaman? Because if I do this for the mother of the Imam of the age, Hazrat Nargis, maybe then he will remember my mother. So you can give this as a gift to Ahlul-Beyt, alayhi salam, and it will multiply that effect for your marhumin. Let's recite Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Ashura of Imam Hussein alayhi salam has many lessons. One of the lines of Ziyarat Ashura is for us to become with Imam Hussein, to have ma'iyat, to have togetherness with him in the dunya and the akhirah. And if I ask you, what is the best thing you want? You would say Imam Hussein alayhi salam. What would be the best thing you could want in the hereafter? Would be the Prophet and his family. Because in the hereafter, the barriers are removed, and you see the reality of the Prophet and his family. It is not in this world where there is a world of limitations. You see Rasulullah how he is, and you wish to be with him. You wish to be with Imam Hussein alayhi salam. But how can we be with Imam Hussein? One of the important aspects of Ashura is that Ashura is not a normal event, and Imam Hussein alayhi salam is not a normal person. Ashura is a battle of 72, 100 people versus 10,000 versus 30,000. At a time where Hussein ibn Ali alayhi salam never had despair, always had hope, even though all the factors of despair are there. Because he is with his family, he is outnumbered. You know, they have different weapons, for example. They have the command of the ruler of the time. All the factors are there. There's no water, there's no food. But Imam Hussein alayhi salam, was he ever, for example, in despair? No. So if we want togetherness for Imam Hussein, we have to think and learn from the 100 lessons of Ashura. One of the scholars listed different lessons from Ashura. He said there are 100 and more. Some of these lessons are for children. Like for example, Qasim ibn Hassan alayhi salam, or Abdullah ibn Hassan alayhi salam. The children of Imam Hassan, they were so young that armor could not fit them. But you have the tradition that says, Maut, I see death and shahada, or death, ahla min al-asal. I see it better and sweeter than honey. Or you have examples from the older, those that were older and they protected Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Like Habib, for example, or Muslim ibn Awsaja. They were the elders. Or you have examples from male. You have examples of female. So Ashura of Imam Hussein alayhi salam has many lessons. One of the lessons tonight that we want to go over is the outlook of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, how he viewed life. And this for us is very important, to have patience when it comes to calamity. When we are tried and tested, how we can be the patient one. See, dear brothers and sisters, there are those great individuals, when something horrible happens in their life, when Allah tests them, for them it is very easy because they are a great individual. Then there are those that are very weak. They haven't grown, they haven't reached kamal and perfection. The smallest thing happens to them, they flip out, they don't know what to do. Sometimes maybe you've traveled with someone like this, for example, you're on the airplane, and they don't have maybe much reliance on Allah. They haven't reached kamal. So the smallest amount of maybe turbulence, the smallest amount of delay when their food arrives, they make a big deal of everything. Our goal, and one of the great lessons from Ashura of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, is how to take something that is so alim, something that is so great, and to be able to deal with it. Not only him, his children dealt with it. His sisters, for example, dealt with it. After the martyrdom, they were captives, they dealt with that. So this is one of the great lessons we can learn from Imam Hussein alayhi salam, but we have to understand that Imam Hussein alayhi salam was not a normal human being, was not a normal person. The great scholar, Muhammad Baqir al-Sadr, Shaheed Muhammad Baqir al-Sadr, mentions in some of his books, some of his statements that exist, that Imam Hussein alayhi salam ليس إنسانا محدودا عاش من سنة كذا واستشهد في سنة كذا. Imam Hussein was not a normal person. I'm sorry, I'm translating, you understand better than me. But for those, Imam Hussein was not a normal person that he lived during a certain time and he died a certain time. Beautifully he says, Al-Imam Hussein alayhi salam huwa al-Islam. Huwa al-Islam, he is Islam, the religion of Islam. Kakul, if you took and you were to display all of Islam, how would it look like? If you want to illustrate and display Islam, how would it look like? He said it would look like Hussein ibn Ali. The day of Ashura, Imam Hussein alayhi salam showed Islam. Because if Islam became a person, it would be Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Because he mentions here, وَهُوَ كُلُّ الْأَحْدَافَ الَّتِي دُحِيَ مِنْ أَجْلِهَا. Because he is all the goals of Islam. To reach that perfection, to reach that patience, to reach Tawheed and monotheism, Imam Hussein reached all of it. So that is a special heart, a chest, a special forehead, special lips that Imam Hussein alayhi salam had. They were not normal. He is the display of Islam. Some say, why do you cry so much for Ashura? We had a meeting with the converts. We have weekly gathering with the converts. And I asked them, what is one of the interesting things? This is your first Muharram. What is interesting? They said that, one of them said that it is interesting for me that the morning of Imam Hussein, the matam of Imam Hussein, the azadari of Imam Hussein, is as if it just happened. It's so fresh. It's not as if it happened 1400 years ago. There was this brother, he came out of prison, and he became Shia in prison. He was actually a very tough person, very tough person. And I don't think he was one of those that had trouble in prison at all. He probably gave trouble to others. He came out of prison, he went, it was Muharram, he came to the Majlis of Imam Hussein in Los Angeles area, this brother. He came and he saw people crying and crying. He says, what happened? He said, they killed Hussein ibn Ali. He said, okay, why are you crying? Stand up, let's go get the guy who killed him. Let's go get him. He said, brother, this happened 1400 years ago. We're crying. He thought the way people are crying, he said, this happened yesterday, for example. This happened today. Because that is why the morning of Imam Hussein is so fresh, because, as Shaheed Muhammad Baqir al-Sadr says, he is huwa al-Islam. He is deen. He is religion. That heart that the hooves of horses crushed was not a normal heart. That heart held the secrets of ma'rafatullah, of understanding Allah. Those hands that were later on, they took off his ring. Those hands were the hands that always gave to the poor. They were not normal hands. And that forehead that was, hit on the head, was busted on with a rock. That was the forehead that did sujood, that after Rasulullah, Imam Ali, Imam Hassan, nobody else did sujood like this in this world. It's a special person. So we need to learn how to live life like Imam Hussein alayhi salam. We need to learn how to behave and have the outlook. Please recite a salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Prophet Musa alayhi salam asks Allah in tradition to show me the best of people. Obviously, when a prophet asks this, it's after himself. Show me the best. and he sees a person, he gets the address of a person that actually does not have the longest of beards, does not have, for example, forehead that's, for example, from so much sujood and prostration has calloused. He sees a normal person, maybe he's in doubt, is this right? This is the best person in the world? But yet he sees them that he has leprosy, he has a skin disease. He sees that he is handicapped. And he's observing him, he's seeing, imagine, seeing one of the best of creation. At that time, God comes and takes away his eyesight. Now he's blind. Imagine, God forbid, such tests, such tribulations. At that time, he makes the dua, متعتني بهما حيث شئت وسلبتني أيهما حيث شئت. You gave me the opportunity to have vision however you wanted, and you took it away from me however you wanted. وأبقيت لي فيك طول العمل. But what remains is my hope in you, Allah. Imagine, God forbid, a skin disease, no one wants to see you. Being handicapped, being blind now. And he says that, but what remains is my hope in you, Ya Barru Ya Wasul. O one who does good to me, does birr to me. So you see that those individuals that are able to take calamities and they approach Allah radiyatan mardiyah, they reach Allah satisfied, and Allah is satisfied with them. They never have this state which in the books of akhlaq say sakhat, which means they complain. They're why, God, why did you do this? Some people, God forbid, in the moment of their death, they complain to God. They come to them and say shahadatayn. He says, I do not want to say it. He says, why? For example, they say, because this is the best time of my life. Why is God giving me death right now? My kids need me, for example. I have wealth. Why is this happening to me? So we need to understand that if we're going to live a joyful life, if we're going to live a peaceful life, if we're going to live a good life, we need to learn from Imam Hussein how to take the trials and tribulations of Karbala and make it into something that is bearable. This is an important lesson for those that are young. Sometimes you have exams. Sometimes, for now, the SAT is back, I heard. It's back for revenge. They can't even sign up for it. They have to go to Arizona and take the SAT. This is what I'm hearing. You have tribulations, tests, exams, college application letters. Sometimes you are looking for a job. Sometimes young people are looking for marriage. And that person they want to marry, they say no, for example. So many trials and tribulations. How can we be peaceful? How can we be calm during such tribulations? Let me give you a story. A person said that once he invited a mystic, an arif, a mystic person. And when he invited him for lunch, in Persian food, they have onions, raw onions. I don't know, in Iraqi food, do you also have onions? Usually, the more pungent it is, the more spicy it is, the more taste it has, you like it more with the food. You don't like a bland onion. This kid comes from the mystic, the kid comes and takes the onion and just wants to taste it and starts crying. Starts crying because it was one of those spicy ones. And he, being a good father, gives it to the mother to calm down. And he comes and he gives the person a piece of advice from this onion. Sometimes wise people, from something around, they give mu'idha and advice. He says that this onion is one that a child runs away from. Child runs away from onion. But the older people, they love it and they rush to the onion. They like it. The more bitter it tastes. He said that this is like the example of bala, like the example of calamity. That a person that is a child, he runs away from it because he has not grown up, he has not excelled, he hasn't reached kamal, and is only looking at the dunya, material life. But the person that actually reaches ma'rafatullah and the blessings of knowing God, and wants to reach Him and knows that I am in here for 70, 80 years to know God, to obey Him, and to reach kamal and perfection, that person rushes towards it. That person understands that bala. That person understands it. So we have to ask ourselves, sometimes when hardship we face, for example, passing away of loved individuals, very serious and sad time. But if we are going to be childish about it and not have that vision of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, we won't grow. We'll be afraid of it. But if you grow and you are a complete individual and you look at this test, you look at it as an opportunity for you to have patience with Allah, an opportunity that Allah is in a way testing you and taking you towards Kamal. My dear brothers and sisters, did you ever have a difficult exam in your own life? What happened when you have patience? You feel afterwards that, I'm much better now, I'm much more complete. And that before these trials and tribulations, I was a child. Our purpose in life is to grow, because the hereafter is an eternity, inshallah, for you, mu'mineen, an eternity of joy and peace. But we have to build ourselves in this world. That is why we are created, to reach Kamal and perfection. So therefore we see the life of Imam Hussein alayhi salam as one who is patient, one who takes Ashura, and what happens is tarfi'. His rank raises and raises. Imam Hussein alayhi salam, in the day of Ashura, they say his face was becoming has more light and more light on the day of Ashura. Ziyarat al-Nahiya says that the angels are surprised by the patience of Imam Hussein in Ziyarat al-Nahiya. The same angels in Quran that mentions they were complaining to God, what about this? Who did you create, this Adam? Why did you create them? He's going to spill blood. Why did you create him, for example? Now the angels are saying, wow, they understand. Because Imam Hussein alayhi salam, we said, is all of Islam. Imam Hussein is the perfect one, is the complete one. We look at another point I want to make when it comes to trials and tribulations, dear brothers and sisters, is that many of times we do not understand the wisdom. We say, God, what are you doing? Why'd you make me bankrupt? Why'd you take this person away from me? God, why'd you make me sick? God forbid. We don't understand that there's hikmah in wisdom. Do we understand everything in this world? No. Do you even know what's going to happen 5 minutes from now? 5 minutes. But there's no guarantee. So therefore, we have to know that the events that happen in our lives, they are coming from Allah who is Hakim, Allah who has all knowledge, God who is all powerful, and God who is Arhamar Rahimin, who is the most merciful. Do you need a more powerful God so that you can have reliance on Him? Do you need someone more powerful? No. Do you need someone, not even someone is wrong, a being that has more compassion than a mother, who is Allah? Do you need a being that has more knowledge than Allah? Then why don't you rely on Him? Why don't you understand that there's hikmah in these things? There's wisdom in it. Look at the story of Prophet Khidr. And look at the story of Prophet Musa alayhi salam. Prophet Khidr isn't mentioned in these verses. But one brother asked me, he said, these verses you're saying about Prophet Khidr, how do you know it's him? I said, there's about 55 traditions in Bihar and Anwar. I said, this story is Prophet Khidr. Usually we say prophet because he is teaching Prophet Moses something. He must be a prophet to teach a prophet something. He can't be less than a prophet. There's one proof that some say he is a prophet. The Prophet Khidr does 3 things. He protects the wall, sinks a ship, and kills a boy. Today I'm going to talk about killing the boy. Many people are confused, even today. Why would Prophet Khidr kill a boy? The Quran mentions more about the family, that the parents, basically he was going to be a problem child, as we have today. He was going to be a problem child, and he saved the parents. So what Prophet Khidr in the traditions and the stories says is that Prophet Khidr comes, and Prophet Musa doesn't know exactly what's happening. How could you kill someone in front of me? Because the prophets are usually commanded by evidence. There has to be evidence for something. It has to be incriminated. There has to be evidence. How can you kill without any evidence? It's not allowed. But then he mentions the wisdom, because what he is doing now is like what the angel of death is doing. How come when the angel of death takes so many lives, you don't say anything? I am just been commanded from God to take his life earlier. I'm taking it, for example, 70 years. This boy was killed. 70 years of life was taken away from him. But instead, I saved him for an eternity. He was going to go, as the other, it's not in the Quran, but in the other versions, has in the hadith and the stories, that I saved him from going to hell. He was going to be bad. Right now, he's good. So Allah sometimes, the wisdom, what we're trying to get from this story, it's a very mystical story that shows that there is a hikmah and wisdom that we don't even know, we can't even imagine. And Allah takes, in reality, Allah takes the life of this boy. Why? To shorten 70 years, but to give him an infinite life of happiness. Save him from an infinite life of hellfire. Is that worth it if I ask you? Trade in 70 years for infinity of goodness? You say, yes, that's worth it. What about the parents? The parents then were replaced with a daughter, the son who's gone. But Allah changes, and when He takes something away, He gives something better. He gives a daughter. No more problem child anymore. A daughter. From this daughter, it is said, many of the generations of prophets came from this daughter. So now the parents are happy. They have a good, pious daughter. No more problem child. And now, this child, there's the wisdom that he was going to be saved from the punishment. So this story in the Holy Quran teaches us that there is a wisdom, deep wisdom, that there is no way that we can find out. Even Prophet Musa alayhi salam could not find out during that time until Prophet Khidr explained for him. I ask you, when we have tribulations, when we either lose something in our lives, loss of life, or capital, or money, or something, or health, is there khair in it that we just do not know? The only one who knows is Allah. Only way you can have trust in Him is if He is your rafiq, if He is your friend, and you trust your friend. Sometimes you have a best friend, you've lived with him your entire life. You would give him all your documents if you wanted to. You trust him, you say, he would never harm me. Allah needs to be our friend. Allah needs to be our rafiq. So that you trust Him with everything. And when you have this mentality, you will be the strongest of people. You say, oh, there's khair for it. If I caused it myself, yes. The third thing I want to say is sometimes I cause bala. Sometimes I do not do my due diligence. I'm not careful. I'm not safe. It's my fault. It's not God's fault. I did it. I didn't work hard enough. I did not study hard enough. Most people that when they go to school and they get good grades, is it they do a lot of dua, or is it they study actually? They study. If you don't show up to class, if you don't pay attention, you'll get a bad grade. It's causation. That's how the world works. I'm talking about cases which is out of your hand. You cannot do anything. Something that I could have never done anything about. Those cases where it's completely from God, that is the case that I have to be patient. That is the case that I have to become strong. I'm going to be ending with this story of Prophet Yunus. Let's recite another salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Imam Hussein alayhi salam's deep understanding of God gave him patience. Ma'rifat of Allah allows you to live your life and say, He is my Lord, and He is going to be administrating everything in this universe for me. Unless I know Allah, I cannot be patient. He knew Allah. He had ma'rifatullah, which comes from knowing Him, reading, but it usually comes from ibadat and worship. How we reach ma'rifatullah, understanding Allah. Prophet Yunus, as the Quran mentions about him, is called Wadhannun. Quran Surah Al-Anbiya mentions Prophet Yunus as Dhannun. Dhannun, Quran said, became upset. The Quran very clearly, and if you do that Salatul Qufayla, the Salat between Maghrib and Isha, and you mentioned this surah, or this ayah, إِذْ ذَهَبَ مُغَاضِبًا فَظَنَّ أَنْ لَا نَقْضِيَ عَلَيْهِ فَنَادَى فِي الظُّلُمَاتِ أَنْ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا أَنْتَ. So he was in the darkness. He became angry. ذَهَبَ مُغَاضِبًا. He left his people upset. He came to his people and said, worship Allah. Many years, they did not. They ridiculed him, made fun of him. Patience, patience, patience. Then at the end, he told them to warn them, to say that the bala is coming to you. And then the Prophet Yunus, bala is going to come. They even laughed at that too. Imagine us. I mean, day one, we would already want the bala to happen, but years, he waited and years. And then they finally made fun of the promise of God. He became upset. He said, that's it, they're over. They're even making fun of the punishment. I'm going to leave. So the issue that the Quran has, or that we understand, is that Wadhannun, or Prophet Yunus, left a little too early. Allah is so merciful, He says, no, wait, give him a chance still. Before the bala happens, you should stay with them a little bit. It wasn't a sin. We say it was tarkul awla. He didn't do the best thing. He should have stuck around for even a little bit more. Allah is so compassionate. He'll take the side, and this side of the people that are sinning, than the side of His own Prophet here. So he leaves. He goes on a ship. Some of the versions of the story is that he is riding the boat and it's too heavy. There's a storm. And they draw straws, and his straw comes short, and he has to be the one that has to leave the boat and cling on to a rope or something like that. And there, the actual translation, maybe fish is better, maybe you could say whale, swallows him. And then he's in this darkness. He doesn't know what to do. He does this dhikr, which is very famous. It's called a dhikr a-Yunusiyah. And it's actually, Imam Sadiq alayhi salam talks about this dhikr and says, I'm surprised about a person who does not seek refuge to this verse of the Quran when he has sadness. When he is sad, I'm surprised someone doesn't seek refuge in this dhikr. It's very short. No, La ilaha illa ant, subhanaka inni kuntu min al-zalimin. It's very short. La ilaha illa ant, subhanaka inni kuntu min al-zalimin. Dhikr Yunus. Some of the urafa are missing. I'm not, advanced or know this. I just, just add something in there. They say don't say this even dhikr too much. It's one of the pathways for example, mysticism and stuff, this dhikr. The reason I say this is that people are baffled when it comes to this dhikr. He does it and he is saved. In the Quran, it says, وَنَجَّيْنَاهُ مِنَ الْغَمِّ. We saved him. وَكَذَلِكَ نُنْجِ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. We'll save the believers the same way. You do this dhikr, we'll save the mu'mineen, they are saved in the same way. This dhikr of Prophet Yunus is one dhikr that today people are still baffled. What does it exactly mean? How does it affect the world? The mystics do it. It's actually in Imam Sadiq, it says to do this if you have sadness, for example. Imam Hussein alayhi salam in Dua al-Arafah comes and adds 11 more lines to this dhikr. He makes it complete. I said this first stage, we don't even know what it is. Imam Hussein alayhi salam in Dua Arafah adds 11 more stages. And on the day of Ashura, he implements these 12 stages in Ashura. He says it, the dua, he talks to Allah, and mentions these 12 stages, and then he implements it. The 11 other stages, La ilaha illa an subhanaka inni kuntu min al-zalimin. La ilaha illa an subhanaka inni kuntu min al-mustaghfirin. I am those seeking forgiveness. La ilaha illa an subhanaka inni kuntu min al-muwahhidin. I am of the muwahhids. I am of the monotheists. There's no shirk in Husayn ibn Ali. There's no hope anywhere else. He does not do anything for al-aghyar, anyone else. He's only doing it for Allah. Ashura, all the actions of Imam Hussein were only for Allah. He was a true muwahhid. Sometimes you ask some of the greats, they say, this scholar, this arif, how would you describe him? Their teacher says, how is he? You say he was a muwahhid. Muwahhid. But we say, well, everyone's a monotheist. We're not polytheists. No. There's no shirk in him. There's no any action for someone else to show off, to do something. Everything was purely for Allah. That's how Ashura was. I am of the muwahhideen. La ilaha illa ant. Subhanaka inni kuntu min al-khaifeen. I am of those who fear you. Yes, 30,000 people are in front of me. They're coming to kill me. Yes. But I only fear you, Allah. I don't fear them. I'm of the khaifeen. If I ask you, who is the true khaif, what would you say? Of Allah. Imam Hussein on the day of Ashura. La ilaha illa ant subhanaka inni kuntum min al-wajilin. Fear. La ilaha illa ant subhanaka inni kuntu min al-rajin. I am of those that has hope. Day of Ashura, we said all the factors of despair are there. Food is not there, water is not there, outnumbered. Family is there. The traitors are in front of me. And now Imam Hussein alayhi salam, day of Ashura, he makes this dua, Allahumma anta thiqati fi kulli karb, wa raja'i fi kulli shiddah. God, you are my trust. I am hopeful with you. I depend on you in every action and hopeful for you in every blessing and every hardship. So who has a raja? Who has hope? In a time period where there's not a time, place, or time of hope. It's Imam Hussein alayhi salam. He has the position of rajin. Then he has the position of raqibin. Then he has the position of muhallalin, those that say la ilaha illallah. He has the position of sa'ilin, those that ask Allah, purely ask. It says, La ilaha illa ant subhanaka inni kuntu minal musabbihin, who has glorified Allah. Throughout the day of Ashura, Imam Hussein alayhi salam, La ilaha illa ant subhanaka inni kuntu minal mukabbirin. I'm of those who truly says Allahu Akbar, and I mean it, and I say it, and I'm not lying when I say it. La ilaha illa ant subhanaka rabbi wa rabbu aba'i awwaleen. For you are my Lord and the Lord of my fathers. So these 12 stages, one stage from Dhikr al-Yunusiyya, the 11 stages of Tawheed of Imam Hussein alayhi salam was presented in Dua Arafah, but implemented on the day of Ashura. And Imam Hussein was tested, and in no way do you ever see Imam Hussein go against this. So this is the answer to us. How can I be more patient? How can I be one that his capital is in his heart? His entire worth is in his heart. Know God. Have ma'rifat. I'm telling myself, have ma'rifatullah. If you begin to know Allah, worship Him, become a servant of Him, then you will truly change your outlook on life, and the hardest of tests and tribulations will be easy for you. Some of our ulama and scholars were sick. Some of them were poor at the same time. They'll come to them and say, how are you doing? Say, Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah. Did you just win, for example, the lottery? What happened? You're so happy, for example. No, I'm sick. I'm in debt. But I know Allah, because my capital is in my nafs, is within me. My resources, my wealth, my richness is where? In my chest. It's good to be rich, have a good portfolio, large bank account, lots of real estate, a big yacht, for example. That's good. But what is more important is to be rich in the inside. And I end with this dua of Imam Hussein. If you did not understand anything, take this dua and ask Allah for this. Ask Allah to make you of those. Let's recite salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Yes. Allahumma ja'al غنائي في نفسي. Allahumma ja'al غنائي في نفسي. Allah, in this dua Arafah, Allah, make my ghana, richness, in me. Don't make my richness only outside and I don't have anything inside. I don't have any knowledge of God, light of God. I have just darkness and confusion. Give my ability to connect to you, my main resource and capital. And that is how Imam Hussein alayhi salam was. That his main wealth, he was rich. Be, brothers and sisters, rich on the inside. Be a true muwahhid. Inshallah, all of life's tribulations and trials will become easy, inshallah, for us. Let's recite a salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. We'll dim the lights and dedicate this maqtal to the soul of Marhum Salim Gharawi. If we could dim the lights a little bit. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. We know it is the month of Muharram and Safar. There's so much to learn in Ashura, so much to gain. Imam Hussein is Misbahul Huda. He is the lantern of guidance. He is Safinatul Najat. He is the ship of salvation. He is the ship that if you board this ship, you will get to know Allah, because He is the monotheist, and through Him you'll become a true muwahid, inshallah. Lady Zainab and Imam Hussein had a very special relationship. Lady Zainab loved her dear brother, but it wasn't only her brother. It was her imam. It was the imam of the age. The image that she has of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, the beauty of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, like a moon. I want you to imagine Hussein ibn Ali alayhi salam before, during the night of Ashura. The face, the body intact, everything beautiful. Then the Maqtal mentions, and this is the Maqtal of Kharazmi, mentions it is daytime now, and they're going to take the sisters of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, the daughters of Imam Hussein, Ali ibn al-Hussein, and take them towards Kufa now. But first, they want to show the bodies to them. The mutilated bodies. The bodies that have been crushed with horses. The body that is now headless, and the head is on a spear. At that time, it says, وَحَمَلَ بَنَاتِ الْحُسَيْنِ عَلَيْهِ السَّلَامُ وَأَخَوَاتِهِ وَعَلِيِّ ibn al-Husayn عَلَيْهِ السَّلام. They take the family of Imam Hussein. فَلَمَّا مَرُّوا بِجُثَّةِ الْحُسَيْنِ عَلَيْهِ السَّلام وَجُثَّةِ أَصْحَابِهِ. And they see Hadrat Abbas, for example, his body. They say Qasim ibn al-Hasan, Abdullah ibn al-Hasan. Possibly Lady Zainab is looking at her own sons too, Awn and Muhammad, seeing what they did to her own sons. There it says, Sahat nisa. There the ladies began to scream and yell. Latamna wujuhahunna, striking their faces. And if you ask where's Latmiya come from, say Maqtal Kharazmi. Because the ladies, Lady Zainab, her sister Kulthum, the ladies began to strike their faces. وَصَاحَتْ Zainab alayhi salam, Ya Muhammada. The first person that she called is Prophet Muhammad, is the grandfather. And for many people this is shocking. How can the ummah of Rasulullah do this to the grandson of Rasulullah? Brothers and sisters, you know when you see one person, you give respect to their son. You see that the grandson of someone you respect. Now imagine it is the grandson of Rasulullah. First granddaughter of Rasulullah. She calls, Ya Muhammada, Salla alayka malikus sama. Peace be upon you, the angels of the heavens. Hada Husaynul bil ara. This is your Hussein, clothless. They took everything from Hussein ibn Ali. Muzammilun, or some say Murammilun bin dima, twisted in blood. Muqatta'ul a'da, he has separated his limbs. Ya Muhammada, banatuka fil askar, sabaya. Now look at the family members of Rasulullah, his family. Now they are captives. And soon Lady Zainab, who was years before the teacher of the ladies in Kufa. Now the people of Kufa who they learned Quran from, soon they will see their teacher in shackles and chains. Inna lillah, inna ilayhi raji'un. Ya Allah, we ask you, because of the belief in the Tawheed and monotheism of Imam Hussein alayhi salam and his innocent blood, give protection, inshallah, to all of the innocents, all of the oppressed, especially those in Gaza, inshallah. Ya Allah, give victory to all those that are fighting against oppression, inshallah, wherever they are. Ya Allah, bless the soul of Marhum Salim Gharawi, inshallah, and all of your family members, your father's fathers, your mother's mothers, until Prophet Adam, inshallah. Ya Allah, protect our children, our grandchildren, all the way until the day of judgment, and make them lovers of Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam and Hussein ibn Ali. Ya Allah, forgive our sins, answer everyone's du'as here, and make us, inshallah, of the companions of the Imam of the age, and expedite his return with a salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.